Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. At UFC Vegas 45, Mateusz Gamrot got a massive win over Carlos Diego Ferreira. He TKO'd him in the second round with a brutal knee to the ribs. It was a weird stoppage. Diego Ferreira tapped out due to strikes, supposedly injured his ribs, but nonetheless, a massive win for Mateusz Gamrot. And this video is going to be what's next for Gamrot. I have three potential matchups for him. I'm going to go from 3 to 1, 3 being the least likely, 1 being the most likely, as far as what I think the UFC will do with Mateusz Gamrot next. And all these matchups are amazing, but at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my personal preference on what fight I would like to see the UFC make for Mateusz Gamrot next, because he is one of the hottest up-and-coming lightweight prospects right now. He should be 21-0. He has one loss on his resume, and that was his UFC debut in a fight that he won, and he got screwed by the judges. So he really should be 21-0 on a 4-fight UFC win streak, and he has some decent names. He beat Jeremy Stephens rather easily, and now he has a big win over Carlos Diego Ferreira, who's currently ranked in the top 15. So we know Gamrot, when they update the rankings after the fights from UFC Vegas 45, we know that Gamrot is going to be ranked. So the first matchup I have for you, and it's a great matchup, there's so many great fighters within the lightweight division, is our man Tsarukyan. And Gamrot and Tsarukyan are kind of in a similar place where they're highly touted, up-and-coming prospects. They haven't faced the stiffest competition yet. I would argue that Gamrot has fought tougher competition just in his last two fights. But nonetheless, Tsarukyan, his only loss in recent memory is Islam Makhachev. He's currently on a 4-fight win streak. So I think this fight makes a lot of sense. They're going to be very close to each other in the rankings. And Tsarukyan has just looked so good. I honestly believe at this point, our man Tsarukyan is the best win on Islam Makhachev's resume. So that's how highly I think of Tsarukyan. And usually the UFC doesn't like to match up, highly touted up-and-coming prospects like this because they don't want to kill one or the other off. But when you have such a deep division, you can make fights like this. Like just recently, they made Brad Riddell versus Rafael Fiziev. Two up-and-coming prospects. They've had them go off against each other. Fiziev obviously won that fight, but it's just they can do it again with Tsarukyan versus Gamrot. Who wouldn't love that stylistic matchup? Two young guys, two guys who always come in phenomenal shape. They're both super well-rounded. They're like the next generation of MMA fighters. I would absolutely love this fight, and I think there's a chance that the UFC puts this fight together, and I would love to see it. So next up on the list, we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Fiziev. I absolutely love this fight. He's coming off that massive win over Brad Riddell where he spinning wheel kick KO'd him. It was more of a standing TKO. I don't know if they actually called it a KO or not, but a massive win. And I would love to see Gamrot striking tested, because Gamrot, if there's a hole in his game, his striking isn't super clean, but he's able to use his grappling to kind of negate some of those issues with his striking. And I'm curious, Fiziev, everyone talks about his potential gas tank and how he gassed out against Bobby Green. That was a very high output fight, and Bobby Green can show up to be one of the best fighters on some nights and look terrible on others. So I'd be really interested to see Fiziev's ground game tested against Gamrot's, because I think Gamrot's strategy in that fight would be to go out and take him down and look for a submission, look for a decision win, outpoint him, something like that, win him via ground and pound. And Fiziev's going to want to keep the fight standing and look to knock Gamrot out, because I really believe Fiziev is the far superior striking. But I would love that matchup, and it's just another, a matchup of two highly touted up-and-coming prospects. I would love this fight, absolutely love it, and it answers, what I love about MMA is fights that answer questions, and Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot answers so many questions. How is Gamrot striking? How is Fiziev's cardio? How is his takedown defense? We could get so many questions answered just by matching these two up, and the winner of that fight could really move on to some more well-known top 10 names within the division, and a win for either guy in that fight would be a massive win and a massive way to move up that ladder. So I would absolutely love that fight as well. So the number one fight I have on the list is Mateusz Gamrot versus Gregor Gillespie. This fight, I think, is the most realistic possibility right now. Gregor Gillespie's been hovering around that top 10 spot for a while now. He doesn't fight super often. His last fight was in May of 2021 against Carlos Diego Ferreira, so it makes perfect sense. They're both coming off a win over Carlos Diego Ferreira. Mateusz Gamrot versus Gregor Gillespie would be an excellent style matchup. Gregor Gillespie wants to take you down, beat you up, and out-cardio you, but Gamrot has excellent grappling skills as well as submission skills. So I would love to see this fight. They both fought the same guy last. Gregor Gillespie's not super active, so he's due for a fight, early next year. He's not on a massive win streak, so he's not in any position to really be demanding, top 5 guys at this point. And Gregor Gillespie's kind of getting up there in age. It's now or never. He goes out there, maybe gatekeeps against Mateusz Gamrot, then maybe he can ask for a top 5 opponent next. And I would absolutely love this fight. I think it makes perfect sense right now. But honestly, any of these fights make sense. If I had to pick my personal favorite fight out of these 3 matchups, it would probably be Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael Fiziev. I guess you guys could probably tell when I kind of went over that matchup for a minute or so. I just think stylistically they match up so crazy, and I think the fight would be amazing. I would love to see each guy test the other guy's skills, and I just love that potential matchup. So guys, let me know in the comments section, what fight of these 3 do you want to see? Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.